You're listening to Rio Radio, the nationally trusted name in real estate investing. We dig deep to discover investors' why in real estate. If you want to skip all the BS and get in investors' heads, you're in the right spot. Be one of the thousands to check out RioRadio.com.
They take business owners as the evil. You know, if you own rental properties or if you own the business, when actually it's the other way around. We are the ones creating jobs. I want to make a difference. And the thing is that also there's over 100,000 Cubans in town. And as a community, we don't have any representation yet. I think this is about time to have some Cuban American guy.
Welcome to Rio Radio, episode 238 with Alex Feria. How's that?
I couldn't roll my R's, man. So it's definitely you.
Fun fact for you listeners out there: Ted has no ability to roll his R's. He can't do the like that.
Yeah,
try it.
You have to do it like this. It's really hard.
My oldest daughter can't do it either, and she gets so frustrated like with that.
Oh, so my daughter and my wife do that to me all the time. They think it's so funny.
Oh, that's good. So, Alex, thanks for joining us, man. My first question for you is, what is the quality of the Cuban food in Louisville, Kentucky?
Thank you for having me. That's a great question. We do have quite a few of Cuban restaurants in town.
Really?
We do. Like, the Cuban community in town, believe it or not, is over 100,000 Cubans. It's actually the second largest population of Cubans in the United States after Miami. It's not even Tampa. It's Louisville, Kentucky, and very few people do know that.
I had no idea about that. Why? Why would you pick the middle of the country?
Well, in the 90s, at the end of the 90s, the Catholic Charities start helping the Cuban refugees. And then one thing, you know, if one Cuban came to the town, then all the families after that. So actually, until a few years ago, this ministry has been helping the Cubans, exiles, the Cuban refugees in town. So there's a lot of Cubans coming here. And after the years, not only because of this ministry, it's also because the cost of living in South Florida, you know, is really high. And then here you can still afford a house and buy a house and have all the kind of things that are really hard to have in Miami or Tampa or South Florida. But yes, we have quite a few restaurants. We have Havana Rumba, La Bodeguita de Mima, and Cuban food all over the town. Like, it's getting to the point, like, if you go to Miami, that you have Cuban coffee on every corner. It's getting like that here in Man, that is cool. I had no idea about that with Louisville having that large of a footprint with a Cuban population. But one bummer is, like, I can't think of one Cuban specific restaurant in Omaha. Which sucks. I love Cuban food, but I've never had like
I can't think of one either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there's Havana Garage, which is your type of place.
Yeah,
with cigars.
Spot, there's no food.
Yeah, but okay. So now you lived, were born and raised in Cuba, and then at some point you moved to, it looked like, the Dominican Republic. Is that right?
Yeah, when I was 16, I moved to Dominican Republic.
Okay,
and then at the age of 20, I came to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm going to be 40 next month, I'm sorry. So it's been almost 20 years since I got here.
You're creeping up on us age-wise.
Yeah. So, okay.
Let's not talk about age, man.
Okay, I have one. I went to the Dominican Republic for the first and only time about 2-3 years ago. Went with family.
I was there about that same time.
Yeah. But, and I know your trip wasn't like all that great, just not for whatever reason. But we went to this place called Monkey Land. Did you ever heard about that? I can't remember the resort we stayed in, but you were in Santo Domingo, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and there was a place called Monkey Land, which I didn't know if everybody knew about that lived there, but it's like basically this animal preserve, where there's 200 little monkeys. They're like 5 pounds or less, and they like jump all over the tourists. Like, I had one on my hat, like on my shoulders. They're hanging all over you. You feed them and stuff, and they give you the stuff. We still have the bottle on our counter. It's called Mama Juana.
Mama Juana, yeah.
Juana. Yeah,
Mama
and it's
Juana,
like
yeah.
this
It sounds like marijuana. You just
wine.
said.
I know,
Yeah, it's
but
not.
but it's like this. It's a mix of like wine and liquor, and then there's like wood chips randomly in the bottle. Like we still
Yeah.
have it on our countertop. I got a really bad hangover from that.
And I don't know if you know that it's supposed to work like Viagra or something like that.
Oh, really? Okay, that explains some
It's like
things.
magic thing.
That's why he keeps it on the shelf in his bedroom.
Yeah, that bottle's been empty for a while. No, that's cool. So, okay, Dominican Republic. How long did you stay there? You mentioned you moved to the U.S. when you were 20. So
Yeah.
you were there for like 3-4 years.
4 years. I did 4 years there. I finished high school in Santo Domingo. Then I came to America in 2006.
Okay.
Yes.
And went to school, got your MBA in Florida, and
And
then it looked like you had a stint or a couple of different jobs where you had a procurement type background. So you worked in
many different jobs since I got here. I used to work at all the plastic factories in town. I used to be a horse walker at the Churchill Down.
a horse walker at Churchill Downs.
Yes,
Wow.
I did everything. I used to work at a laundry, and then for a while I sold books on Amazon for over 5 years. I was doing that. It was a profitable business until the ebooks came around, and then
Yeah.
we just have to figure it out, do something else. And then yes, I worked procurement for a wrong company in the Dominican Republic for a while as well, because the MBA I did it actually in Santo Domingo. It was an FIU, but they have a campus in Santo Domingo. I went back there in 2011, I think, to get the MBA done.
Yeah. Okay. And then somehow or another, you fell into the world of lending. It looks like, and you've been doing that for a little while. How'd that all come about?
8 years now. I came back from Santo Domingo because I did the MBAs, and I started working for Manuel Tapia, which is a good friend. He has his own brokerage. When I came back, I realized that I knew so many people in town that it was really good. I was really good selling this product. And the good thing about selling the mortgage is one of those jobs that I used to have was selling cars. And when I was selling cars, and nothing against that, if you are salsa, if you're selling cars,
I stole cars for a minute. I get it.
no, but the thing with that, I was feeling guilty every time that I was selling a car to someone that I know that it was going to be hard for them to afford the payment. And then when I came to the mortgage business, I was like, I'm doing something good. Actually, whoever is getting a mortgage is because they are going to be able to afford the payment. They are building wealth because the equity they're going to have in the house in the next few years is it's going to help them. And if they don't pay in a mortgage, they're going to be paying rent anyways. So I was doing something right. And then I started feeling that meaning in what I was doing, and I knew so many people in town at that time that because a lot of people think that mortgages industry is actually more knowing how to do the loans is more of the selling. You are a salesman that
Yeah.
you can know everything about conventional FHA loans and everything. If you don't know how to sell, you're not gonna get any loans because people are not gonna come knocking in your doors to get a loan from you. But I was good selling. I was good at selling, and I knew so many people in town that I was like over. And in a few months, I was producing a lot. And
Yeah.
then from that 4 years ago, that was 8 years ago. 4 years ago, I opened my own brokerage. We have a team. We was started 4 years ago with three members, three people, two loan offers and a processor. And now we are 15. And last year we closed $80 million. We are on our way to close 120 this year. And
Wow.
and it's getting better. God has been super good with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, okay, so you said 8 years ago in the business,
Yeah.
which that had to be like a killer time to start, right? Because it was refinances are happening all the time due to interest rates and all that, and
Right.
houses were going, flying off like hotcakes. How has that changed with the last 2-3 years with interest rate spikes? Has it been a lot more difficult?
It is. It was a good time when I started, not only because of the rates, but also because of the prices. When I first started, the average loan for me was $150,000, believe it or not. Now the average loan amount is 250. So at that time, there it was affordable. So if you were making $15 an hour, you can easily buy a house by yourself. Now, if you're making $15 an hour, you will have to find someone else and add someone else to application to be able to
Yeah.
afford $250,000. And during that time, it was a lot of refinances and the purchases. The rates were great, but now, with this rates are being so high that it's really hard for people to afford a house. But the thing is, and you can see the difference in town is the Latino community are buying more houses than the American community, because for us it's a dream come true to buy a house. It's the American dream for us is to own a house. That if you come from Cuba, you will never be able to own a house in the island. It's really hard to buy a house in Cuba. So if you don't have a house because your mom or dad left it to you, you're never gonna have a house. So when you come to America, first thing you want to do is buy a house, which is super good for my business. I can see in the city that there's a lot of brokerage that actually the numbers are going down, and my numbers are going up because of that. We are in the segment that is actually they're keep on buying even though the rates are high.
Yeah, no, I would think that you being, the heritage that you're from Cuba, you have a large community of Cuban nationals there, or refugees, or immigrants, or whatever. But has that been a big advantage to you? Do you think in having credibility right away, and people are feeling a lot more comfortable talking to you because you have shared experiences?
Yeah, there's one thing that I don't negotiate is credibility. I don't do anything. Um, I will never lie to a customer. I'm gonna say whatever it is. I'm gonna tell the truth, and I'm true with the numbers. I'm true with everything that we do. And the other thing is, I always try to help the community. If you're trying to buy a house and I have to cut my commissions, and sometimes I have to do a deal for free, but if I have to do it to help someone, I always do it, because down the road, you never know if that person is gonna help me. We're gonna do business together in the future or no. And that's what you have to do. And I have always do is keep the credibility always clean. I always help the customer from A to Z, and whatever they need, we help them making the payment. We help them every step of the way, even though after they close the loan, we still help them.
Yeah. No, that's great. Cutting your commissions and even doing it for free, that would go a long way with somebody. I bet they're always going to remember that, and you'll probably get a ton of referrals.
Talking about referrals, my business after 8 years, actually 80% of my business are referrals.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's a lot of we work with a lot of real estate agents, and a lot of people in my team do have their business coming from referrals from real estate agents. But 80% of my business as a loan officer, because I still produce, is referrals.
Yeah. No, that's great.
The lifeblood of continuing your business, that's for sure.
Okay, so I'm curious about this. You mentioned you started in the mortgage business, and then about 4 years later decided to open your own mortgage office. Now you've grown it to 15 employees. What is the hardest part about working for a company and originating mortgages to then stepping out on your own? Like, what steps do you have to do if you want to own your own mortgage brokerage? Is it lining up warehouse lenders? Is that a difficult thing?
No, it's not. Actually, the hard part is getting the license,
Okay.
applying for the license. Here in Kentucky, you have to be a loan originator for 2 years, then you get to apply for a mortgage broker license. That's the hard part, just getting the license. But other than that, it's actually the overhead, the fixed costs, all the things that that whenever you are dreaming about having your business, you don't think it's gonna be that hard. And there's a lot of things, that a lot of costs that actually are higher than what I thought at the
Yeah.
beginning. And one thing that's been challenging is hiring new people. I used to hire people based on my believing. I used to talk to them. I got the feeling that he's the right one. And then down the road, you learn that you need to be more careful about how to hire people. You have to put some system in place. Make them take a test about personality, make sure that this is the right thing for them. Because over the years, I have spent a lot of money on hiring new team members that actually didn't work at the end.
Based on that, so it sounds like you kind of started just hiring on gut feeling. Like they seem like a good person. I think, I can train them for, for the business. And then maybe you transition to get more systemized in your approach to hiring. You mentioned personality, tests, and that'll give you kind of a good idea of what type of person, how they operate upstairs, like what their work ethic is. Are they analytical? Are they, outgoing? Are they going to work well in a sales type role or more of like a back office type role? But I guess, have you changed your like number of interviews, or like when you're going to hire somebody new, I guess, like, do you post a job or you just start networking, or is it a little of both?
No, it's crazy. There's so many people in town that want to be loan officer nowadays that I get calls every day from people telling me that they have the hours already. We have to do 20 hours to get the license, and I have calls every day. People, I have my 20 hours, and I want to come work for you. What I do is I always interview anybody that calls me. I interview them, and the other thing that I do is I always tell them the truth. And the truth is, you're not going to be making money overnight in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
You need to build a lot of networking and the customers to get a pipeline. The good pipeline is going to take you 6 months of a year. And during that time, you're not going to be making any money at all.
Yeah.
And then when it's someone that is actually that don't have a job or have some savings that they can use during that time, sometimes they make it. I have a lot of people coming from different industries that they're making $80,000-$90,000 a year, and then I know that's a long officer you can make more than that, but it's not on the short run. It's on
Yep.
the long run. And I always tell them, are you willing to quit your job and spend like 6 months or a year not making as much, and until you do it, and don't get frustrated in that trip, and down the road, maybe you can make it or maybe not. This is not, actually, this is not for everybody.
There's so many people that come to the local RIA groups and they're like, I'm a lender, but they're not licensed. They're just representing another company, but they're getting paid commissions off of it. Would that be just a local thing that they can get away with that? Or how is that legal?
At least in Kentucky, if you're going to do commercial loans, you don't need a license. So if you are lending for hard money, you're lending hard money to real estate investors that are going to do flips with that money, you don't need a license. The thing is, you have to lend that money to an LLC, not to a person. And you have to make sure that that person is not going to live in the house. They're buying the house for business purpose. I'm sorry. And if that's the case, you don't need a license. That's the way to get away with that. And that's another thing that I'm doing. I have the mortgage broker, and I do loans for first-time home buyers, investors. You can buy a second home or any of that. But on the other side, I'm starting selling my properties and using that money with that purpose. I sell hard money loans. And actually, for that thing, I don't need a license.
Are you starting to see that you're going to make more money off those hard money loans than you are going to be off your mortgage business?
Maybe in the future, yes. I think you're gonna get to that point. And at least I'm not gonna have the headache of the rental properties. The thing with the rental properties are that I have a property manager, but it gets so messy sometimes that they have to call you and you have to make decisions. And it got to the point that I saw the numbers, and I'm better off lending that money that actually dealing with the tenants. And not only that, locally, the city is not really friendly with the landlords, and that's another thing that's affecting us. The city is not being so friendly for landlords and being too friendly with tenants, and that's the kind of things that maybe it's not the time to have your money in rental properties, at least locally.
I think that's going to be a nationwide thing, that it's going to keep on happening. But then there's going to be a point where they're going to need us landlords back, and they're going to start being nice to us again, huh?
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's city by city, and it's kind of starting in the the coastal areas, but it's definitely you have like even Omaha where we live, and you're kind of in the Midwest ish type of area like us, and we've seen more and more regulations, more and more stuff they've tried to push through to make it really difficult to operate as a landlord. Your costs are going up, your licensing, the oversight. You can't discriminate against subsidized housing vouchers anymore in several cities around here. And it's probably coming to Omaha sometime soon. Short-term rentals are getting more and more regulated. A lot of people don't like them in their cities. So yeah, it's just getting hard to operate. I find it interesting. Now, you mentioned, casually that you're selling off, some or all of your rental portfolio to focus on more on hard money lending. But let's talk about rentals for a second. When along your path did you end up buying your first one?
2021, that's when I bought my first property.
Okay.
And the market was really good at that time, and it was friendly for landlords at the moment. And I've been buying properties since that time until last year, I think. And I came up to have a portfolio of 27 properties or something like that. And at the beginning, I was managing the properties myself and doing the mortgages on properties. Got to the point that I have to hire a property manager. And then for some time, I was doing well, I'm building equity on those properties. But the city is getting harder and harder on landlords. Now you have to have a license for each of the rentals that you have. If you don't have the license, you're going to get fined for that. And they now came up with randoms inspections or rental properties.
Yeah, we just heard that here too.
Yep.
I don't think they are so random, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
hey, take care of that when you get into city council.
I will. At least I'm gonna try. Yeah. And that's the thing. People needs landlords. People needs the property owners that gonna be able to rent those properties out. And you don't have to think actually the landlord is the bad person or is the evil. Actually, landlords is a businessman and trying to make a profit out of that. And actually, cities need that.
Yeah, and you were talking earlier about when you first started. The average home price was about 150 grand. Now it's more like 250, and that prices out a lot of people that maybe have lower income jobs or don't have the ability to get a cosigner, and they may just end up staying as renters, and they need rental housing units for those people that can't afford to buy a home. So if they're making it so difficult for people to operate a housing provider type business for rental properties, where are those people going to go? You're still going to need, landlords. So it's just like, I think we've gotten demonized because prices have gone up so much, and they're saying greedy landlords have taken all the housing inventory, and I can't buy a home because all those investors over there own everything. Where that's not the case. People still need rental properties, and a lot of people don't want to buy a house. I mean, not everyone wants to buy. Some people don't want the responsibility. Some people maybe owned a home and they're tired of the maintenance, or they can't keep up with repairs or updates. So they just want a place somebody's going to take care of their stuff. It's going to be clean and nice, and they don't have to worry about anything, right?
Right. And the thing is, demonizing the landlords, what they doing is actually people like me that aren't getting rid of their portfolio are most of the houses that I'm selling actually are selling it to first-time home buyers. So those properties are not going to be rentals anymore. And then if the inventory of rentals property out there gets lower and lower, what they doing is raising the rent on those tenants, and they don't see that. They just look at us like evil. We are the bad person, that's a kind of.
And you also see more and more things happening to landlords, like shootings, aggressive behavior towards landlords, and it's all coming from this persona that we have, that we're all like money hungry, evil people, but really we're the ones that are lifting up the community and giving homes to people that wouldn't have homes.
It's like Tesla owners.
You got that right. And I mean, there's people that they don't pay the rent, and then you have to go through the process of 2-3 months to do an eviction, and that's money that you're losing, and you still have to pay the mortgage, even
Yep.
if they're not paying the rent. And that's the kind of things that I don't know people in the government they don't see. I mean, I'm talking about locally. They think that you make a lot of money and you make a ton of money of those properties. You need to pay mortgage, you need to pay taxes, you need to pay insurance. All those things add up.
Inspection fees.
Inspection things, and that's the other thing. These random inspections, if they happen to find anything in the house, you have to fix all those things, and
Yep.
to be compliant again.
So I'm curious your thought on this. I brought this up before. It's been a little while, but I think if they are in fact going to do rental property housing inspections and force landlords to do repairs that are safety related, which I mean, you could argue, yes, that's necessary, right? Like you want to have a safe place for your tenants. But my take on this is if they are going to do that, they should do it for all housing, right?
Right.
They should make homeowners do that as well, because what is the difference? They are still living in a place that has safety issues. So who cares if it's a rental or a house? It's still people. If you're going to do it for everybody and see what the blowback is going to be on that. People would freak out that own their home, and then all of a sudden they have somebody coming in and being like, this is dirty, you got to fix that, put the battery in the smoke detector. They're going to be like, what? No, I'm out. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right. It should be for everybody, right? The fun thing about that is
It should be for nobody. Let's just make that clear.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Nobody
Yeah.
can get that, right? Yeah. But the thing is, the funny things about that is that here locally, those random inspections are for any landlord renting a property, but the properties owned by the government that are currently rent to low income people, all that, they don't have any kind of inspection. They don't have those random things. They are safe. They know for sure they're safe. They don't need it,
It's funny that you mention that, because we've had a group in the Omaha area where we're located, the Omaha Housing Authority, right? A government, quasi-government entity. They provide low-income housing and subsidized, right? But there is horrible properties that are owned and ran by the OHA, Omaha Housing Authority. They've been on the news, like deplorable living conditions, safety issues, feces.
And they're the ones doing the
roaches,
rental inspections.
bed bugs. Yeah, and they're the ones that are doing the rental inspections. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you guys need to set the example if you want this to actually get credibility with people that you're going out.
Nobody
and doing this
cares.
stuff. I know, it's just ridiculous.
Exactly, same thing is happening here. They're inspecting our properties, but their properties are perfectly fine, and you know that those properties are actually a mess.
Oh, yeah.
My greatest example recently, I think we talked about this, is almost probably about 2 years ago now, but I had a property listed for sale for another client. That particular property was a 3-unit, and it was by far the nicest house in the area. The guy put over $150,000 in the renovations of this place over a 2-year span. And the city came in and like, oh, well, after looking at it, we noticed that this sink has a copper line going into it, and then the bottom unit sink has a PVC pipe. So there's intermixed water lines here, which led to having to rip out all the brand new kitchens, ripping out brand new drywall. All the tenants had to get moved out and relocated. And then they're like, oh, the retaining wall has a little bit of lean. We want new railings in. And in the end, the bill, I think, was almost $90,000.
Nope.
So after and all he was trying to do was sell this property that was, it was $1,000 a unit type of place, which was an affordable place, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
But no, they made him tear the whole thing apart. And you know what? There was not a rental in that area that was that nice, but they just threw the book at him, and it's happening over and over and over again.
Hey, I'm curious, Alex. So you bought 27 rentals over about a 4-year period. That's a pretty fast clip.
He dropped so many nuggets there. It's like,
I know.
You got to pull that away.
I wonder. What I'm wondering is, did you write your own loans? Like, is that allowed? Could you be like, okay, Alex Feria, LLC approved, and then you're just going out?
No, it's
like,
not like that.
One day I'm going to go out and buy a house. My loan's approved.
I hope it's that easy. Actually, my loans, I do my loans in-house. One of the loan officers that work for me will do it for me, but it takes longer for me to do a loan for myself than for customers, because the lenders that I sell the loans to, the investors, they look at my own loans more closely than
Sure.
the one from a customer. So it takes longer, but it's not hard to get it done, And
Yeah.
I also, when I get to the point that I had so many loans with one investor, I went to a local bank. And even though I do loans myself, I did a few with a local bank here in town. It was actually quicker than doing with my own shop. It doesn't mean that I don't do loans quick. Okay, so you guys out there,
Yeah.
It's just a few more steps when it's you, right?
yes,
No, that
they
makes
have.
sense. Yeah, you don't want the perception to be that you're doing something shady. So I'm sure
Of
you have to
course.
have your
That,
files buttoned up, and they have to be just like spot on.
that's why it takes a little bit longer. They actually look every single thing that when I'm doing a loan for myself. Uh, I mean, one of the loan officers that works for me is doing a loan for the broker owner.
Yeah.
That it takes longer. They do make sure that everything is actually correct.
Yeah. Side note, I do want to compliment you on your background of your little podcast area here, because the vertical wood that you have, I really wanted to do that in our podcast studio that here. And then we looked at the cost of it. We're like, oh my God, this is going to be like $30,000 just to do.
Well, actually, this one
that was like crazy expensive for that type of wood.
This one is not that expensive. It was my wife. She bought it on Amazon. It's
Oh, okay.
not, and let me show you this. That she did this whole thing over here.
Wow.
And
The lighting.
Yeah, that is really cool.
This thing here was like a couple $1,000s. No, it wasn't that like whole lot,
Yeah, we as you can see here, we went with like the Home Depot LVP that was like $180.
Yeah, but it looks good. It looks good. Like,
Thanks, man. Go ahead, Ted.
One thing I was wondering is, how did you find all these properties? We didn't dig into any of that. Like, short time period, lots of wealth building that you did, obviously. And I want to dig into after that. I want to dig into your hard money decisions, because you and Owen are both owning hard money companies. I think there can be some fun conversations there. But can you tell us how you're finding those properties, and were you doing big renovations on them?
I actually didn't do anything like going to an auction or doing anything out of the normal. I was just looking for the market whenever a property came up. What I'm trying to say is I didn't do anything out of the normal. Any property that was put on the market, I went there. Yeah, but back in the days, there were a lot of properties, that for good properties for flips, to buy fix and flip, or flip or fix and keep. And what I used to do is actually buying the properties and fixing, and then rent the famous VRRR thing that you do,
The BRRRR strategy. Yeah.
Yes, and most of the 90% of the properties that I had to remodel them when I bought them. I bought that 2 or 3 properties that were ready to go, and the thing that I didn't like about those is that I didn't have any equity when I bought it, And then whenever you buy a house that you have to fix yourself, most likely you are going to have some good equities whenever you do a cash out refinance on those.
Hey, question for you. We were talking about this at a networking group yesterday. When you first started buying your rental properties, you have 27 now, so I would assume you started using LLCs and getting more like commercial type financing. Is that fair to say?
Well, the first few, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, you bought them in your own name.
At that point, I was buying the house on my name and do everything incorrect, to be honest, And yeah,
as we learned, right?
At some point, I opened an LLC, and all the properties are on an LLC, and commercial loans. I even have 4 or 5 of them, which I got a blanket loan from a local bank and bought them all together as a package.
So did you buy them that way? Like, did you buy a group of them together, or were those? Okay.
I did once, only once. I bought I don't remember, it was 4 or 5 properties at the same time. It was a good deal. I got a great deal out of those.
Yeah. Now, and so for those listeners out there that may not be familiar, can you describe what a blanket mortgage means?
Oh, it means that you're having one loan for multiple properties. If you're buying 5 properties, let's say for $750,000, you can buy them all with just one loan. You make one payment for all 5 houses. Good thing is, most of these blanket loans actually, whenever you sell one of the properties, most likely the lender is going to allow that you just pay off the amount for that single property. Then you can keep the loan for the rest of the properties at the time.
Yeah. So owning a mortgage brokerage, like when you're buying your own stuff, I'm curious. Do you go to like a local bank if you want to get a portfolio loan, or do you actually submit your loan file through your brokerage to a bank and then get financing that way?
No, I have to go to a local bank and
Okay.
do it that
So you're
way.
just like me or Ted, we'd have to go do that. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. No, interesting. Now, when we first started recording, you mentioned licensing and that being kind of one of the more difficult things involved with being a broker in the mortgage business. How would you describe the process of like studying and taking that test? I mean, is it a pretty substantial amount of information that you have to know in order to get a proper license?
I would say this fairly easy. I'm not gonna lie. If you want to be a mortgage loan officer, you just have to take 20 hours of education.
Okay.
And then after that, you have to take a test, have a good credit score, a background check. I would say it's easy because when you compare that to real estate agents that have to do, I think, 60 or 80 hours, something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure of how many,
Each,
but I
each
know
state
this.
each state's different.
Yes, but the good thing about mortgage loan officer is that it's only 20 hours. Each state may require an extra 2 or 3 hours. It depends on which state you are. Passing the test is fairly challenging, but if you take some time, like a month, studying for the test, you're gonna be okay to pass the test.
Yeah. Now, okay, let's talk hard money. You mentioned that you're kind of starting to unwind your rental portfolio to basically free up some cash that you can then deploy into making hard money loans. What made you decide to kind of explore that as a strategy?
As a mortgage broker, I also do hard money loans through lenders. I'm just the middleman between the customer and these lenders. And I saw that actually the hard money lending thing is so easy compared when you're buying your first time home buyer, and you need to do a conventional or even an FHA, which is actually harder. Or if you go USDA, it's even worse. But
Yeah.
well, so I saw that it's so fairly easy to do those loans that I told myself I can underwrite those things myself and I can use my own funds. So I started researching on what kind of license do I need to do that, and then that's when I came across that if you do that commercially, you don't need a license. And then that's when I found this software online that I used to underwrite those loans, and is super nice and friendly to use. You enter the property there, and then you get a picture of the property. You get all the numbers, and through this portal, actually, you can service those loans because when you enter the customer information, the checking account, routing number, you get the payment every month. They don't have to send you a check or nothing like that. You get the payment every month. When you want to get a payoff, you can get it off of there. You want to print all the documents for the closing, is the title of a deed. You can get those documents in this software. And the reason I'm saying software is because I don't remember the name, but
Oh, I was just gonna. That's what I was gonna ask you. What the name of the
I
software
don't,
was?
I can find it and send it to you, but don't remember right now. And the good thing is it's all set up for hard money lenders. You can add your whatever documents you want to set up in there. You can do it, and then whenever you click, it's gonna be customized for your customer, and you can have everything in there. The payoff, the deed, the closing docs, everything is in there. So it's fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
Only thing is you have to underwrite the loan yourself and make sure that you're doing the right thing. And it's been a journey, and I hope, like you said before, maybe it's going to get to the point it's going to be even bigger than the brokerage. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but hopefully it will.
Yeah. Now, how long ago did you do your first hard money loan with your own money?
With my own money, I will.
Well, I guess it doesn't have to be your own money, but like I'm not talking about brokering a hard money loan. I'm talking about you actually issued a loan to, Owen Dashner LLC, and you're making the interest payments on it.
Well, the thing is, through my brokerage and using lenders, I've been doing that for 4 years.
Yep.
But using my own money and investors' money, because it's not only my own money. I also have investors that have put the money into this business. That's another story. And like a year and a half ago,
Okay.
I started doing those things on my own.
In Louisville, if you're operating there as a hard money lender, what's the going rate and term for a hard money loan? Like, what's that look like? If I'm an investor, I have a fix and flip house, I go to Alex and I say, hey man, I need to get a hard money loan on this. Like, what is a typical rate and term? I know it probably varies, but
I'm going to be honest, my rate is around 15.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And do you have points?
I do 2 points at closing,
2
but
points.
I know that my rate is actually higher than most people. I know that another hard money locally that they do 12.
Yep.
And I know lenders that I use through my brokerage that you have a great credit score and you have done multiples of flips in the last few years, you can go down all the way to 9.5 maybe.
Yeah. You're going to flip when I tell you what we charge. So my like in ours is so I don't know about you, but like when you were talking about licensing requirements for operating in the hard money business and some commercial, but like when we first started, my hard money business was 2020, and we had our attorney research all 50 states to figure out what the local statewide regulations were and licensing requirements and like all the stuff, right? And so we basically created a spreadsheet that has all 50 states on it with like, okay, this state requires you to have a brick and mortar location. Like, for example, Arizona, like we don't loan in Arizona because you have to have an NMLS license and you have to have a brick and mortar location there. So we're like, okay, we're not loaning there. South Dakota is weirdly prohibitive for where they are. It's like they have a lot of regulations in South Dakota. We're like navigating that. Now, the funny thing about this is, we probably paid, I don't know, $2,000, $2,500 for this list, right? And now you can just type it into ChatGPT and be like, tell me all 50 states, and then you get like a document right away, So it's like, you threw all that money away to attorneys, but whatever. We got what we were interested in out of that. But so we mainly loan in like Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, Missouri. Those are kind of our 4 core states, although we've done loans outside of those. Mainly in the Midwest is where we operate. But locally here, it's very normal for hard money lenders to get between 18 and 19% interest, right? Now, typically, there's not going to be points involved. So that's the difference. When we're making loans outside of Iowa and Nebraska, typically we're at 2 points and 15 or 2 points and 14. It just kind of depends on where rates are. But you mentioned that you have private investors, right? So you raise money from people that have money lying around. They want to make a good return on their money. So they give you the money, you deploy it into hard money loans, you make the spread, and then give them, a good return for their capital. Is that basically how your setup is?
Correct. And I make the spread and also make the closing costs. Those points are a closing. That's why I lend the money for 6 months. So that way I can lend the money more times, and make more of the closing costs.
Yeah, and then so if you're in this business too, what we do the exact same thing. So it's 6-month term, interest only payments. We set up the automatic monthly payments. You don't have to worry about getting checks and wires and all that weird stuff. And we actually had a guy on. You might be interested in listening to this. There's a guy named Bryce Matheson. That's a really good dude. I've gotten to be friends with him, and he started hard money lending several years ago. And then actually he was a kind of former software engineer. And then he created his own lending product called Lender, Lendr.
That's the one I'm using. I was going to open my email because I think I know Bryce.
So we had Bryce on our podcast, and I was on his podcast. So we're kind of like the quid pro quo here, but great dude. I really like Bryce. Luke is our director of operations for our business, and he has worked with Bryce to like make constant improvements and add things and, you know, kind of change configurations and stuff. And I mean, it's been great. Like he's been outstanding to work with. So big shout out to Bryce Matheson and Lender. They're a really good
sure.
product, good people. Yeah.
Actually, that product made me think about doing this because at the beginning I was thinking about how I'm going to do all those paperwork, do all that, and then servicing those loans by myself. It was a nightmare, you know. And then lenders came around, and it makes a huge difference for any hard money lender out there.
Bryce, you can go ahead and pay us.
Yeah. Now, speaking of fees, one thing I'm curious about, before you started kind of lending on your own a year and a half ago, you mentioned you probably, it sounds like you brokered some hard money loans for flippers that were looking for something. They came to you and you said, hey, I can place this loan. What do you typically make as a referral? Like, do you get, half a point? Like how does that work?
2 points. I do 2 points. But the thing with that is, and being honest, can I say names of the lenders out there?
Sure. Yeah.
I used to use Kiabi, and then there's another lender. I think the name is Private Investors, like that, or something like that.
They're bigger, more national, right? Kiabi is kind of like
they're national, and the thing is, and this is another reason why I'm doing my own thing, is if you go to Kiabi as an investor or you want to get a loan, you don't have to pay those 2 points. But if you come to me and I have to do the loan for you through Kiabi, then I will have to charge those 2 points because I have to make money,
Sure, yeah.
That's the thing. And anytime that investor, any customer, were asking me like, hey, somebody told me that actually if I go to Kiabi myself, I don't have to pay those 2 points. I was like, yeah, that's correct, And then I started thinking that how to do my own thing that, I don't have to charge as much to the customers,
Yeah. Now, okay, so anybody that's interested in hard money, or you're like, man, this sounds really cool, and that's a great interest rate. You can obviously start your, doing hard money loans yourself. You can broker them for other people. You can raise capital from other investors that don't want to deal with the day-to-day stuff, and then put that money of theirs into a portfolio of loans, right? So what do you typically pay your investors? Is it like 8 to 10%, something like that? Or
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're charging 2 points and 15, then you're making a spread on the capital, but then you have to service the loans and make sure the borrowers are paying. And like if something goes sideways on the project, then you have to be prepared to take that house under inventory and then flip it yourself, dispose of it somehow to recoup the capital that you outlaid, that your investors, gave to you. So there's a lot of moving parts to this when you're in a capital raising and portfolio management type role with hard money. But the money is phenomenal, but you have to be really careful and a good underwriter when you have a loan request coming in. You got to understand after repair values, repair budgets. You have to know how to vet borrowers. All of those things are equally important. But it's something to where if you have a good network of investors that are flipping a lot of houses, I mean, that's your bread and butter, right? You want people that know what they're doing. They're good operators. They know how to flip a house or to, rehab it and refinance out of it and get you paid back. 6 months notes, so you're not going to be in it for the long haul, and you're not subject to a lot of wild swings in interest rates. I mean, it's a fantastic business. It's my favorite thing I've ever done and related to real estate. It's really cool.
I'm getting into this, and let's see how it goes. I keep on doing loans or on the brokerage side, and these hard money things I would like to grow as much as I can. Currently, I only do it locally, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe at some point I will have. I'm going to be able, because as a broker, I'm licensed in 7 states currently, but hard money loans I only do it locally. So at some point, maybe I can expand and doing any of those states, and maybe I'm gonna need that spreadsheet.
Well, you stay out of Omaha, and I'll stay out of Louisville.
Don't you worry.
No, I'm kidding. Hey, man, but seriously, and I'm dead serious here. Like, I mean, I'd be happy to talk to you and get some conversations going with like how I might be able to. I've been doing this a little bit longer than you. It doesn't necessarily mean I know more than you.
No, but you know a lot more than that.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, no, this is great. I always love talking to, hard money guys and gals because it's such a cool business. You get to see all the deals and participate in them, but you don't have to deal with any of the stuff, right?
That's the
Being the
good
hammer
thing.
and
That's
yeah,
the good
contract.
thing. You don't have to do a thing. I mean, you just have to lend the money and
Yep.
then sit back and see how they fix the house. And the good thing is that when they make a good profit off the property, we all happy because we all make money on the same time. And yeah, I would love to have a chat about. I have a lot of questions that you may have answers
Dude, I'd
for me
love to. I'd love to. Yeah.
because believe it or not, ChatGPT doesn't know a lot about hard money loans.
Yeah, ChatGPT starts hallucinating wildly when you bring up hard money. But
Yeah.
fun fact, so getting back to real quick to Bryce Matheson, I actually met him on Reddit. We were in a Reddit thread about hard money, and that's how we connected. And then we just started messaging each other, and he was like asking me a bunch of questions. And then that led to phone calls and then conference calls, and we had him on the podcast, and I bought his product. Like, it's just been really cool how this has all like evolved. And like the people in hard money seem to be very, at least the ones I know, are generally really open and like, there's enough, everybody can eat.
Actually, he sent me a sample of a contract for my investors because I didn't know how to make a contract for an investor at that point. And he was nice. He told me, okay, here it is. Here is a sample. Just make it your own thing and you're good to go. So yeah, he was like open to help on every single thing that I have asking during this time.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Small world, huh?
Before you know it, I can definitely see Owen selling off all the stuff he doesn't have with partners and putting it into the hard money.
Hey, man, I feel the pain of owning rental properties every single day of my life. So, and I know you do too.
But it's been one of those weeks.
Yeah. No, it's really cool, man. I love watching the evolution of how you've kind of transitioned into, the mortgage world, became a broker, opened your own shop, grew it to 15 employees. You've explored the rental aspects of wealth building and decided, this isn't really for me due to regulations and all the headaches with it. And then have been kind of eating your own cooking with hard money loans and freeing up capital to deploy it into good loans. It's really smart. You're making some really good moves.
You can do that yourself if you want. You can sell your properties and start lending out that money.
Now, one thing we touched on but didn't dig into is you threw out there that city councilman was Alex City Councilman Feria. Feria. What does that look like? What's your political aspirations with that? Like, why become a public servant and have everybody mad at you?
Well,
Get up in your business.
I can keep my business and do make money and don't be out there. Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, I've been thinking about doing this for quite some time, and I'm running for District 19 here in Louisville, Kentucky. Is Metro Council, and I think I have a chance to win. And the reason I want to do is let me tell you a story. I have a friend that he bought a restaurant. He remodeled the whole thing, and he spent 6 months to get a license from the city to be able to open. So 6 months paying rent, not being able to open your business, just because of the red tape and the bureaucracy that they have in the city. So we have to do something about that. We were talking about cigars at the beginning. It's been like I've been in the city almost 20 years. And they had an ordinance, super old ordinance, that you are not allowed to smoke inside in any buildings in Louisville, Kentucky. A few months ago, they changed that, and finally, we're gonna have cigar places here. We didn't have any. I mean,
we've always had them here, and it's a blessing.
That's the thing. Every city that I go anywhere in the world, I always go to a cigar lounge. We don't have any in town. We do now because a few months ago they changed that, and now we have cigar lounges, which is they have a lot of regulations that actually are not needed, and nobody cares to try to do something about that and change that. And I'm not gonna say that cigars is actually something that the city needs, but for sure that something that the city needs is business owner get their permits or license quicker than getting it now. I would say that a plumbing permit from the city can take 30 to 60 days, and that doesn't make sense. There's so many people working downtown when you go to the city offices downtown, and there's so many people working there that you cannot actually understand why they're taking so long to do something. It's why so many people working, and then whenever we actually need something, it's not done. And the other thing is that they take business owners as the evil. If you own rental properties or if you own the business, when actually it's the other way around. We are the ones creating jobs and creating wealth for the generations and to grow the city. And well, there's so many things that I think that Louisville, Kentucky has the potential to have that we don't have currently. Like there's so many people going to Nashville to have a good time there, and we have bourbon here in Kentucky, and you don't see as many people coming to our town to taste those bourbons that we have, and we should have that. We should work on bringing, I would say it openly, we should be competing with Nashville in how many people we can bring to town.
Tourists and nightlife, yeah.
Exactly. Raise the nightlife. There's a thing that they have an ordinance that you can get a fine for having live music. And I was going to say the F word. That's crazy that, yeah, how do you want to bring people into town and have a good time? And then you can get fined to have live music in your business. And then if you go downtown, everything is closed by 12, maybe. At the
Yeah,
late.
you know what? Last year, I went on a golf trip to visit some buddies in Indiana, and we drove down to southern Indiana and then went to Louisville and played some courses there. And I went out downtown, and yeah, they were closing up by midnight, and
Right.
it was like Friday or Saturday, and I was like, "What is going on? Like, why is there nothing open here?" It was really weird because there was a like kick ass downtown area. I mean, it's really cool.
It is really cool place, and it's getting better and better. But the thing is, it's not gonna get any better if you don't have those businesses open until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
We should have a nightlife, and there's a lot of people in the city that's been there forever. That the reasoning behind this is they want to have a quiet city, and yeah, the suburb can be quiet, and you can still have a nice life, but you can have a downtown that you can have some party and you can have a nightlife and
Needs
things
to be
happen.
vibrant, exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting, yeah.
I think that's the platform you run on. Like, Alex, I will bring bourbon and cigars to everyone in Louisville.
Right.
Yeah.
Bourbon, cigars, and nightlife. And
Yeah, I think you got to aim for governor of Kentucky. I think that's going to be your political office, buddy.
you never know. Maybe in the future, this Cuban guy with this heavy accent gets to be.
I mentioned this before, but I had somebody try to recruit me to get into politics once here, and he spent like 3 days here. He was a national recruiter, and I'm like, no, man, there is no way I'm going to be putting myself out there to be, critiqued and examined. And,
Ted's worried about the background check.
Yeah,
we all have something in the back,
Oh man,
yeah, I know it's gonna be hard, and I always say that I'm ready for it. I am. I just I want to make a difference, and the thing is, also, like I told you guys before, there's over 100,000 Cubans in town, and as community, we don't have any representation yet. I think this is about time to have some Cuban American guy, at least in the city,
yeah, no, I love it, man.
what's the population of the city?
Over 1 million, a little bit over 1 million.
Yeah, you represent 10% of the community. That's
Something like that, yes. I mean, yeah, for sure we need some representation, and we're going to have it. It's just a matter of time, and we have to work. Hopefully, we can make it to the council member, Metro Council next year. The elections are in May. We have the primaries, and December we have the general elections. Let's see what happens.
All right, man. Well, you'd get our vote for sure.
So you got
Thank you.
I like cigars and bourbon and Cuban food. This is just a win-win-win.
There you go. We have everything.
Right. Okay, kind of going the opposite direction from a win. We have a section in our podcast that we call
Failing Forward,
where we talk about something that maybe didn't go according to plan in your business or life that you learned something from. You got anything that hasn't gone just awesome for you?
Background checks on the tenants.
Oh, okay. I feel a story coming on.
A long time ago, I just rent the houses based on the face. You guys want to rent my house? You're good to go. Give me the deposit, and you're good to go. And you learn the hard way that, yeah, going through the eviction process and all that, then don't ever rent a house without a background check. Do the background check, even the credit report, a background check, and then you're going to avoid a lot of headaches in the future.
They're passing a rule here that you can't look at somebody's credit reports as part of the rental process.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Like, I mean, it's like they're throwing a blindfold on you as a business.
You're gonna get to the point like raise your hand. You promise to pay the rent every month. They're like,
Yeah.
Also, at least in another city right down the road, you have to take all Section 8 applications, even if you're not Section 8 approved yet.
Yep. Yeah. Good times. Yeah.
So what was the fail that you had? What exactly happened?
Well, I have more than 5 people that I had to take them to court to be able to get them out of the house, evictions. And then I learned that actually these people were doing this for forever. That's what they do. They rent the house, they never pay, and then they go through the process of the eviction. Then they do the same thing over and over again.
Professional
And,
tenants.
yeah, and I learned that the hard way. And also I remember the story. I got this lady that she wasn't paying rents for over 2 months or something like that, and she asked me, she went somewhere else, made an application, and she asked me to tell the other landlord that she was paying on time so she can get that house, and then she's gonna move out of my house. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that to a landlord. I'm not gonna lie. You're not paying on time. That's it.
Yeah, this is the real reason why he's selling, because when he gets elected in, he doesn't want to go to court and do an eviction as a city councilman. That's only the paper in the news every single time.
I don't want those tenants being on telling this guy is the worst. He was trying to.
Oh, that is funny. All right, man. Well, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And we've got one final section in our podcast that we call the
OT with Owen and Ted.
And we got some questions. I know Ted didn't prep you like he was supposed to, so
I'm not supposed to.
We're gonna dive into these.
He says this every single week, like this is supposed to change.
The first question is, if you were going to write a book, and I think you should, what do you think the title would be or topic it would cover?
I would say that things not to do in life.
Things not to do. By city councilman.
I'll throw you a chapter in there too.
All the things that as a young, when I was younger, I thought they are good things, and then you learn through the life that actually they're not. Then I would write like things you're not supposed to do, and then the second part would be, I know you think they are good things. Believe me, they are not. To make sure, because when you're young, you always think that, oh, he's wrong. I'm gonna do it better than him. It's gonna be okay. And then you learn the hard way that when someone that actually, like, whatever you're gonna tell me about hard money loans, I'm gonna take it. If you say don't do this, I'm gonna believe you, because now I have the experience that you need to actually believe the people have been doing. They have the experience. I've been doing the things for ages. And as a young Alex, I remember not to listen to anybody. I was thinking that I was better. I can do better than the olders.
Well, I don't know why God decides to make teenagers immune to good advice, but like it's something to where I think you don't, until you're about, I don't know what, 25, you actually think you know better than everyone else about everything.
That's
and then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know anything. And then you start like actually learning and how life works in business, and it can kind of get
everything. Everything. And you talk to teenagers and young people, and it can be that hard. It's not that hard. I can do it better than you. Well, okay, you just do it, and then I'm gonna wait for you when you get 30 or 40 years old, and you're gonna talk to me.
You were right. Yeah.
There's a reason why they say older is wiser.
Yeah.
That's why we all listen to Owen so well.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I ask this next question, you have a podcast, don't you?
I do. It's called Sabroso con Feria. It's locally for the Latino community. Okay. What I try to do with the podcast is actually trying to promote the city. And if you are Latino, and you don't have to be Latino, but Louisville, Kentucky is a better choice for you to live. And
Yeah.
if you want to make it here, you can afford you can afford a house, and it's quiet, it's safe, it's quiet on that we want it to be. Actually, want it to be. It's quiet, it's safe.
Hey, give it a couple years after you're in office, man. It'll
Yeah,
be a
we'll do
rager
that.
now.
Yeah, invite us. We'll come down and hang out. Okay.
Sure.
Well, on that flow, it's your podcast. You can interview anyone in the world today that's alive. Doesn't have to be real estate related. Who is it, and what's the one question you'd want to ask?
I'm going to go deep on this one.
Yeah, please.
I would say Jesus Christ. I'm Christian myself, and I believe in Jesus. He's my savior, and I would love to interview him. And I have got a few questions for him when I get there. When I pass, and if I can ask him now, I would love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he lived in Louisville, if he would turn water into bourbon instead of water into wine.
Instead of wine, right?
Yeah, that'd be a good question to ask him, I think.
That's what's funny is that was his first miracle, actually water into wine. So that's when I like bourbon, I like wine, and then all the people are saying if you're Christian, you should not be drinking. Oh, my savior, he actually he made water into wine, so why not?
That's right. He probably had cigar back then too.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, it's the end of the road for Alex. We are at your funeral. Somebody's walking up to the front to talk about you and your life. Who is it, and how do you hope to be remembered?
I want my son to actually be proud of me, and I want to be remembered for doing something right for society, for everybody. And now that you said, I would love my son to be proud of me, like being like, I loved my dad and he did the right things, or he look out to me, and that would make me happy, to know that that day he will be there talking about me.
Yeah. Well, you seem like a great dude. I'm sure that will happen. Hopefully, it's not for a long time after a lot of hard money loans.
You never know.
Okay, so think about the person that had, mentor-wise, that had the biggest impact on your life. If you could speak directly to them, who is it, and what would you say to them right now?
Actually, is the guy that I started to work for him 8 years ago as a loan officer. His name is Manuel Tapia, and he believed in me at that time. I was a mess 8 years ago. I was young and, well, not that young, but 30, 32, 33 years old. And I was like in the moment of my life that nobody actually would pay a penny for me. And he actually believed in me, and he gave me a job, and he trusted me. And I would say thanks. To this day, I do it. Now we compete each other because he's a broker. He's a broker, and
Oh boy.
I'm a broker, but we have a good relationship, and I love him. He likes cigars and bourbon too. So
Yes.
some good
Sounds like my
time
kind of
together.
guy. Oh, that's great.
Owen's had like one cigar in the last 2 years and was with me like a couple weeks ago. So
It was good.
yeah, maybe you need to do it
I
more
like
often.
them. I like them. I just don't like getting crap from my kids about it.
Oh,
but-
I smoke like every week. I do like it.
All right. Last question for you, Alex. How can our listeners support you? What's the best way to find you? And are you looking for anything in your life or business right now?
Well, you can support me at feriafinancial.com. That's my business. If you want to check the podcast, it's in Spanish. You can listen to it. It's Sabroso con Feria on YouTube. And in a few days, we're going to have the website for the campaign. I think it's something along the line, Alex for 19.org or something like that. We're still working on that website. And if you want to donate for my campaign, I would love that too. I'm going to need the
Awesome.
money to be able to win. So any support is actually welcome. And thank you guys for having me. Thank you for the time, and I would love to have some to talk to you about Harmon loans and
Anytime, man. Anytime. Yeah, no, we really appreciate you coming on.
Record those questions for a little bonus episode.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much. Thank you for your patience on getting on the podcast. I know we've been chatting on and off for quite a while now. And
no worries. Thank you guys for having me. And you should have price to pay for advertisement in this.
Right. I know. Yeah. There was a little plug there,
Yeah.
a little quid pro quo.
Give them a call next.
Yeah.
And Alex, if you got any referrals for anybody that you think would be good on the podcast, please send them our way. We always appreciate that. Just
I
like
sure
you like,
will.
just like
I
you
sure
like
will.
referrals in your business. And but with that, Owen Dashner, we see us out.
On behalf of Aiden Bear, Rio Radio, and Ted Kosh, I'm Owen Dashner. You've been listening to Alex. My favorite mortgage customer is myself, Feria.
Thank you for having me.
Is it Feria? Is that how you pronounce it?
I mean, you can say however you want. It's Feria, you know.
Feria.
Okay, there you go.
Feria.
Is it Feria or Feria? The American
Feria.
I can't roll my tongues at all, though. I can't. No, I can't.
For real?
No,
You
for real.
can't go,
Nope, I can't do that. My daughter makes fun of me all the time.
Yeah, I know it's hard.
yeah, it's a recessive gene.
Okay, you do the intro then, because I can't roll my R's.
Feria. No.